Finally, Victory Unlimited has asked me to do the introduction to his show. What else did you think I came here for? To do an interview, promote a movie, talk about WrestleMania? Huh? What? Is that what you think? Is that what you think? Well, it doesn't matter what you think. I came here to introduce the victorious one, the military one, the most electrifying dating, relationship, and life strategy show for men in the world. The Victory Unlimited Show.
If you picked up this frequency, downloaded this MP3, or gained access to this broadcast by any means, know that you are not listening to just another ordinary radio show. You are listening to the greatest dating, relationship, and life strategy show for men in the world.
The intel you're about to receive by listening to this show is for entertainment purposes only. By listening to the Victory Unlimited show, you are entering into the agreement. An agreement to take full responsibility for your own.
Becoming the best man that you can be is a lifelong fight, so welcome to the war, soldier.
Many of you know me. I am Victory Unlimited. And this, well, you heard what the man said when he introduced the show, so the only thing I'll add is this. In life, a lot of times on the way to getting what you want, you run into opposition, barricades, enemies to your happiness, your success in different areas of your life. And when this happens, in order to get what you want, you got to go to war. And in order to go to war, you have to arm yourself with the right kind of knowledge, the right motivations, and an unstoppable will to win. Consider this show your ammunition to layeth the smackdown on life. And now that we got all flags waving, let's go at this with all guns blazing. We got an email from Gordon. He's 32, from Washington, D.C., and the title of his email is, Should I Play the Numbers Game? I repeat, the title of Gordon's email is, Should I Play the Numbers Game? And Gordon writes, Victory, I have a question. I met this girl at a Subway across the street from where I work. I work in the pharmaceutical industry in sales, and so does she, but for a different company. Anyway, I see this girl all the time at Subway. She's tall, looks like a model, perfect body, and a very outgoing personality. She looks like she's as busy as I am. She usually just stays long enough to eat a salad, check her messages, and she's gone. But whenever I do see her, there's always some new guy, either with her at her table or trying to get with her at her table. In other words, what I'm saying is that she gets a lot of attention, and I'm sure that's done nothing but help her in sales. But let me get to the point. One day, I saw an opening in the waves and waves of guys she has coming at her, and I struck up a conversation with her. Things went pretty good. We talked for about 15 minutes or so in the shop, and she gave me her number. And she seems interested, and I told her I'd call her. So here's my question. as attractive as this woman is, I'm thinking that I should wait for about 4 or 5 days before I call her, because I don't want to come across as just another over-anxious guy trying to get with her. I want to distinguish myself from the pack and don't want her to think that she's the only thing that I've been thinking about since I met her, which is true, by the way. So, again, should I wait about 5 days or so to call this beautiful girl so that I don't come across as desperate? Gordon. Thanks for your question. Fortunate for you, I got this question the day before I'm doing this show. Here's a kind of quick answer to your quick question. Should you wait 5 days before you call a really attractive woman so you won't look desperate? Well, the answer is no, you shouldn't. I know that there's a lot of misinformation floating around about waiting a certain number of days before you call a girl, but I don't agree with it. From the date on your email, this just happened Friday, so I say call her today, hopefully as soon as you get through listening to this show. But I'm telling you now, if you had just got her number yesterday, I'd still tell you to call her today. Why? Because counting days to call women is usually a tactic that guys who really are over anxious have to do, because they don't have the intestinal fortitude to do it in such a way where they can still come across as cool, charismatic, and confident. But you're a 32-year-old man, and it seems like you got your stuff together, so you should try acting like it. Let's face a few facts. By your own estimation, what you're dealing with here is a woman that's really attractive. She gets lots of male attention already, even when she isn't even trying. She has a busy job, just like you, and her only real exposure to you is a 15-minute conversation at a sandwich shop. So, unless you're stunningly handsome, rich, famous, sexy, or funny, what do you think the chances are that you've made a bigger impression than the other 12 guys who made moves on her that same day? Did she ask you for your number too? Now think back. Did she act in any way different with you than she did with the rest of those guys? Well, if she didn't, and you still think that you can get a girl like this by playing some passive-aggressive games, can you get a girl as attractive and in demand as this by laying back for 5 days after only meeting her for 15 minutes? Okay, here's your answer. Picture this. This is hell. Here is a snowball, and these are your chances. Did I make myself clear enough for you? You see where I'm going with this? It looks like to me that you don't really have enough intel to play cell phone games with this bum-level babe, soldier. And because you don't have enough intel, you need to change your tactics. You may have made a good, quick, shallow first impression, which is great, but if this chick gets as much action as you say she does, your mission should be to ensure that you get a chance to make a deeper, more solid second impression on her for her to even remember you. Realize that there's a way to show a woman that you're confident, charismatic, and interested in her without coming across as a thirsty, out of control, desperate type of guy. It's a way to show a woman that you want to get with her, yet still send her the message that you have a busy life too. How do you do that? You do it by running a PDT maneuver. What is a PDT maneuver? PDT is a proactive date takeaway. A proactive date takeaway is when you call a girl, break a date with her that you haven't even made, then you make a real date with her immediately afterwards. Here's how you do it. Call her and say something like, "Hey, Subway chick, this is Chris. I met you the other day and I enjoyed your company. Look, I'm afraid I won't be able to see you as soon as I'd like to because I'm going to be busy for the next few days. But I still wanted to call you today and invite you to lunch this Thursday at the VU Cafe at 1. Can you make it?" Okay, now, you see what I just did there? What I did was convey a message to a very attractive woman that I have a life, but I'm still very much interested in her, which is why I immediately offered her a consolation prize date after I canceled the first imaginary date with her. I purposely framed the first part of what I was saying to her as if I was almost apologizing for not being able to see her sooner than she wanted to see me, even though it was never spoken that she wanted to see me. Now, this maneuver, is it sneaky? Well, yeah. But I like to think of it more as a stealth move. So, if you're on a mission to create another opportunity to get a chance to make a deeper and hopefully longer lasting impression on a bum-level babe, I suggest you use it. Whatever you do, unless you made the most fantastic first impression ever, don't wait 5 days to call a girl that you only met for 15 minutes, especially a girl as attractive as you say that this one is, especially a girl that gets as much attention as this one gets. They have a saying, I know that you've heard it before. It says, good things come to those who wait, but not to those who hesitate. Well, we got another saying from where I'm from. It says, study long, study wrong. So I suggest to you, make a move, because the truth is, if a man is confident, bold, charismatic, and humorous enough when he makes a move, he'll get much farther with women quicker than guys who just blindly follow strict regimented rules that may or may not even apply to that specific dating scenario. Okay, we also got a message today from Chris coming in. He's 29, from Houston, Texas, and the title of his email is, Why is Pickup Always Letting Me Down? I repeat, the title of his email is, Why is Pickup Always Letting Me Down? And Chris writes, Hey VU, good show. It's a lot different from what I expected, but I'd actually say that it's a damn good show. I found out about it from a Facebook friend of mine who sent the link to your website to all of us in an email. He's been telling me for months now that I should check you out, but I'm only just now getting around to doing it. Before we found out about your show, me and the guys had been listening to some other shows, mostly about how to get good at seducing women, or really more so how to be a pickup artist. Just for the sake of reference, I'm an okay looking guy. I've got a fairly decent job, car, apartment, and whatever, but I've still been having a lot of trouble getting the girls that I want. My success usually comes in spurts. It's very scattershot. Sometimes it seems like I'm beginning to do all right with the ladies, and other times I can't seem to win with the ladies no matter what I do. Which brings me to my question about your show. I don't have your battle plan yet, but I've checked out your show enough to know that you aren't about being a pickup artist, a seduction guru, or anything like that. Yet, you still focus a lot on what guys can do to get good with women. Other shows and other books or programs I've bought talk a lot about how to be more like the players and bad boys in order to get the girls. Sure, I've picked up quite a few tricks and gimmicks from the folks that I've been reading and following about how to get the girls, and some of them work, but a lot of them don't. Again, I know your show isn't necessarily about being a pickup artist, but I want to get the patented VU take on it. What's the correct formula for getting girls every time like so many of the gurus talk about? Seems like there's always something missing. It's like as soon as I feel like I have it all figured out, I start losing out or getting rejected by girls all over again. I feel like I've read so many different sets of dating advice from so many different dating coaches that I don't really know what to do to be good with women now. Needless to say, this stuff has gotten all too confusing to me, and I haven't been able to get a straight answer from anybody else yet. So I thought I'd hit you with an email and ask you, why is it that a lot of the advice that I get from so many seduction gurus turn out not to work for me in the end? Hopefully, you'll pick this as one of the questions that you answer on your show. because I'm not the only guy out here who's having this problem. There are a lot of us out here trying every tip, trick, or gimmick that we can to get women without getting any good results. So what's your take on it, VU? Yo, Chris, thanks for your question. And thanks for giving me an excuse to help guys all over the world by answering it. So, to recap, you're telling me that you've been deeply involved in the quote-unquote seduction community, the home base for PUAs, or pickup artists, as you call them. And what you found out the hard way is that a lot of the things that you've been learning seem like they'd work in theory, but they've been letting you down in reality. You found out that a lot of the things that you've been taught might sound good in a seminar, but they ain't working where you are. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, welcome to the real world. And be glad that you found out sooner rather than later that there's a lot to learn when it comes to women. But I also want you to keep your mind open to the fact that you also have more to learn about life in general. We all do. And a major lesson that you need to learn right now is that there is no set formula you can use to be successful with all women every time. And anybody who tells you otherwise is lying to you. And they're probably lying to you to sell you something. And what they're trying to sell you is the equivalent of a get-rich-quick scheme that I like to call a get-chicks-quick scheme. No matter what you call it, it should be clear to you now that it's all a scheme, just the same. Now, don't misunderstand me. There are a handful of guys, shows, forums, or whatever that genuinely help guys by teaching them to do particular things to increase their success with women. But I'm hearing reports that there are a lot more that teach guys that all they need to do are just those particular things to be successful with all women. In other words, one group's teaching is grounded more in reality, and the other is based mostly on fantasy. The trick, Chris, is in knowing the difference between the two. But here's some hardcore truth for you. What you and a lot of guys really need to know is that even if you do pick the better of the two options, you still are aiming at getting better with women with a gun with no bullets. What do I mean by this? It's simple. Although there's undeniably some value in learning some tips, tricks, and gimmicks to help you when you're trying to get better with women, these things are no substitute for being a man. Hell, to be honest, player tips, pickup tricks, and seduction guru gimmicks most of the time don't even add up to true relationship tactics. Okay, you said you don't have the battle plan, so I'm going to have to assume that you're a civilian to all of this. So let me break this down a little more. I know that a lot of you guys out there in the VU Army already know this, but bear with me for a second while I talk about the difference between a strategy and a tactic. The difference between a strategy and a tactic is simple. A strategy is a well-crafted, long-term plan devised to achieve victory in a specific area of life. And a tactic? Well, a tactic is a cunning maneuver designed to either take advantage of a situation or to actually create a situation in the short term that's designed to provide you with an opportunity to begin implementing a long-term plan to achieve victory in a specific area of your life. So in other words, a tactic is an immediate action, while a strategy is a long-term plan. A tactic, if used correctly, can put you in a perfect position to begin a strategy, but it's not a strategy in and of itself. You got it? If not, rewind the audio on this broadcast and listen to it again. What I'm trying to get at here is that all women don't fall for all the seduction community tips, tricks, and gimmicks, but some do. Which is why guys keep using them over and over again in hopes that they'll find those women who do. Guys who focus only on trying to get women to like them while not giving much thought to how much they like themselves often come across to those same women as little more than entertainers, magicians, or con men trying to trick girls into liking them. Why? I believe that that this is mainly because they suspect that those guys aren't being themselves. They might feel on some level that those guys aren't really their own man. They're just reflections of another man. At the end of the day, most women want the man in front of the mirror, not the man in the mirror.
Now it's time for a Victory Unlimited True Life War Story.
And speaking of the man in the mirror, I remember when I was fresh out of high school and my granddad was still alive. I remember when he took me and my cousins out to the mall to get us some tuxedos, and they were playing that song over the speakers in the tuxedo store, The Man in the Mirror, Michael Jackson. We were getting those tuxedos to be in my aunt's wedding. Anyway, turns out everybody had already finished trying theirs on, getting theirs tailored or whatever, but I was still in the dressing room, checking myself out in the mirror. To me, the jacket didn't look big enough because I liked a little more room. So my granddad stuck his head in the dressing room a couple of times and told us, "You boys hurry it up because we're running late." So, we all yelled out, "Okay," from our separate dressing rooms or whatever. And I heard my cousins start to put their regular clothes back on. But I was still on the fence about that jacket. So I heard my granddad say again from outside, "You boys, hurry up. We're already 25 minutes late." Then I heard my cousins leaving out of the other dressing rooms. But here I was still trying to decide if I wanted to switch out that tuxedo jacket again. And that's when I heard my dressing room door open up behind me. It was my granddad looking at me and looking at his watch. With my cousins still, scrambling in the background, trying to get the rest of their stuff, I saw them behind him. Now, I didn't even turn around to look at him. I just saw his reflection in the mirror that I was standing in front of. So, again, he was looking at me, he was shaking his head and just rolling his eyes. You got to understand, my granddad was cooler than a snow cone in the summertime. He didn't raise his voice a lot, and he didn't raise it this time either. He was just looking at me, standing at the mirror, and all he said was, "Look, it don't take nobody that long to change clothes. And I done told all y'all young men 2 or 3 times to hurry up. Now, if I have to tell y'all again, next time I'm going to be telling you by hand. And I'm starting with the man in the mirror."
This has been a Victory Unlimited True Life War Story. You'll hear more next time.
Now, I don't know exactly what that has to do with what I was talking about. Probably nothing. But anyway, it just came to mind, and I just thought I'd share. But anyway, back on target. Now, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, the man in the mirror. The man in the mirror. Yeah, the man in the mirror is a relevant reference because it speaks volumes in terms of guys trying to be a reflection of somebody else instead of just being themselves. So, Chris, what you and all men need to recognize is that there is no lasting, substantive value in recreating yourself in the image of someone else. Now, there is some value in learning what other people do and adding it to what you do, but what you do ultimately has to be true to you. So if you really want to correct or enhance the image that you display to women, I suggest that you start with the man in the mirror. But unlike the lyrics to that old Michael Jackson song, don't ask him to change his ways, start changing yours. Yeah, start asking yourself whether or not his ways and your ways are keeping you true to who you really are. You see, being a man is an inside and an outside job. Being able to look at yourself in the mirror, recognize who you see, and be comfortable and proud of who you're looking at is priceless. Don't throw your long-term value away by desperately trying to do something, anything, just to make you look good for women in the short term. The better way to be successful with women is to drop the tips, tricks, and gimmicks and pick up more knowledge on how to build yourself into a better man overall. What some pickup artists and seduction gurus won't tell you is this. Sexy babes aren't really attracted to stunts. They're attracted to studs. Girls don't go for gimmicks for long. They go for guys confident enough to truly be themselves. And though some women may flirt with style, all women want to stick with substance. If you focus on being a trickster, all you'll ever have to offer a woman is tricks. If you focus on being a man, you'll have more substance than a trickster ever will. Take some time. Explore who you are. Love who you are. Improve who you are. And learn how to exude and exploit who you are to attract women through whatever tactics or strategies that you learn that still allow you to remain who you are. You get what I'm saying to you? Be your own man. Don't fully make yourself over into anybody else's image of what they say a man should be. Just learn as you go from people you can respect, and the people that you respect should be the people that show you respect. And if you happen to find someone, an older man or any man who's further along or more knowledgeable than you are in some area of your life that you want to grow in, just become a student of that person. Let him teach you, not by just his words, but by his actions. Think of what you hear from motivational speakers, teachers, the people you meet in your everyday life, or even me, as a valuable resource that you can use to help you in furthering your development into the man that you want to become. But here's the thing. Once you do find somebody with a message that strikes a chord within you, once you do find somebody who you feel has something of substance to really add to your life, go ahead and commit to learning from that person as much as you can. Just always remember that every teacher, every preacher, or every speaker or leader was not sent to everyone, but to certain ones. And I mean that even about myself. Many people will hear my show, many people will be entertained by it, but there's always a hardcore group within that group who I really connect with. And those guys are the ones that see the substance through the style. Those are the guys who are kindred spirits with me. Those are the guys who are my brothers from other mothers. Those are the guys who are committed to bettering themselves in all areas of their lives anyway. They just like to make VictoryUnlimitedShow.com one of their headquarters for doing it. So, if you decide to keep coming here, if you decide this is a good place for you to hang out, a good place for you to be, then consider this your new recruit briefing. Maintain an open mind about what you learn here. Listen closely to what you hear. Does it line up with who you are, your moral standards, your code of ethics? If it does, think of the intel that you get here as ammunition. And know that the second that you put it into action, it becomes a weapon. A weapon for you to use, to aim, pull the trigger, and fire to take out whatever problem in your life that weapon was designed for. Whatever weapon that doesn't work for you, throw it away and snatch you another one. Whatever does work for you, take it, keep it, and add it to your arsenal. Repeat this exercise over and over again. Increase your skill at using the weapons that work for you until you reach the point where you can use them without even having to think about it. Your mission is to get so comfortable with using these tactics and strategies that neither you nor anybody else will be able to tell the difference between where you end and what you do begins. Your mission is to become a living weapon, to transform yourself into a self-contained think tank, a war machine that automatically rolls into action whenever there's a need for you to do so. And specifically on the subject of women, don't commit dating or relationship suicide by foolishly thinking that every woman that you meet will be exactly the same. True enough, most of them share a lot of common traits, but it's the subtle and blatant differences between every woman that elevates the value of one woman over the others in the eyes of the man that's really, really looking. If you're a man who values his time, his money, and his peaceful state of mind, then know that it's those women that stand out from the crowd that usually deserve the lion's share of your attention. As time goes by, you'll see that there are some women you will meet that in order to be successful with them, you're going to have to use every tactic and strategy that you learn here. But you'll also see that there are other women you'll meet that you won't have to use every tactic and strategy that you know in order to be successful with them. And when those times come, at some point, you'll realize that the major difference between these two groups of women is how much passion they actually have for you in the first place. How victorious you'll be in your mission to develop into the kind of man that you really want to be will be determined by how well you're able to distinguish one set of women from the other, and how committed you are to only engaging those women that you believe will prove to be allies to your hopes and your dreams instead of enemies. So, welcome to the war, soldier. You have been briefed.
Victory Unlimited show is brought to you by the Victory Unlimited Battle Plan, saving men from themselves, one man at a time. Come and join us at victoryunlimitedshow.com and find out how you can get the classified intel on how to win the war, to attract, engage, and execute better relationships with women by becoming a better man.
This broadcast is brought to you by victoryunlimitedshow.com.